I'm back here with Dave, Small Engines. We've got an impromptu Q&A here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Dave in the foreground. He's going to be asking me questions that he's got about his snowblowers. If you live in North America and you get snow like I do here, you will want to watch this video because you probably or will run into these problems. So what are your questions, Dave?
Yeah, buddy. This is my personal collection, current personal collection of snowblowers.
I'm just going to interject here quickly, Dave. Do you mind putting up your camera so we can see your face?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
Usually looks better with a mask on, but...
Yeah, you're not wearing your mask, eh? You might, you could get sick from the snowblower.
So this is that better there, buddy?
Yeah. Go ahead, man. What's your first question, Dave?
What's that?
What's your first question?
This is a collection of snowblowers. I have a two-stroke Toro.
Yeah.
Single stage, a four-stroke single stage Craftsman there with a Briggs. And then the big boy here, the Craftsman 11.5 horsepower, 30-inch cut.
Okay, here's my question, Dave. Why do you have so many snowblowers?
Well, Don...
Where do you get all that stuff?
Well...
Man, you've got a lot of stuff for a guy that...
If you pick up and they're not running, and you can fix them up.
Yeah.
Sell them to a friend or give them to your dad or whatever you want. That's what I do. So,
yeah.
So I have written down a few questions here that I've had with, and from the research that I've done online, you get different. Where you go. Right?
Sorry, we missed what you said there. You get different what?
You get different answers everywhere you go.
You do. Yeah, it's just like your family doctor,
Right. So my concern is that I've been doing something different than what someone with your expertise would do. So I've got a few questions.
Sure.
Now this is a big one. I know fuel stabilizer is important to use in in the summer, like as we're getting towards the spring and you're putting your snowblower away, right? You don't want the car to come up with the ethanol.
Yeah.
Is it important to run fuel stabilizer in the tank during the winter?
You know what, Dave? It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to do that.
Okay.
Now, if you're absolutely positive that the gas you're buying has no ethanol, you don't really need to, okay? But there's always the slight chance in the wintertime that moisture can get in because there's no air filters on snowblowers. Oftentimes here in Canada, the snow is very powdery, so it's just amazing how moisture or water can get in your gas regardless. So, you can use the stabilizer. It's not necessary, but if you do, you want to use a stabilizer that has some like moisture absorbing properties like K100. That's why I talk about that stabilizer in my videos. You know what, Dave? I'm not sponsored to talk about that stabilizer at all. I'm just trying to give tips to my viewers and customers all the time. But you know what? The most important thing is to make sure you're using gas without ethanol in it. And store your machine indoors in your garage. Don't leave it outside. People leave their machines outside. You're almost guaranteed to run into issues.
Okay, so store it inside, use no ethanol gas, so like a 91 or a premium, but some premium still.
Yeah, some premium still has ethanol, so you want to do your homework.
Okay, sounds good. And that was basically my next question. What's the best gas, right? And we just talked about that. So that's good to know. Premium gas, no ethanol, small engine carburetors don't like ethanol. Got it?
Okay, so if you live in Ontario, Canada, like you and I do, the three most trusted gas stations, if you buy the premium, Canadian Tire, Shell, Ultramar.
Yeah, and...
Okay. Do you know of any other ones?
Costco.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so you've read about that?
Costco 91 does not have any ethanol in it.
Okay, that's good to know.
Good to know. So on all of these blowers, there's a primer.
Yes.
Right. So primer here, same on all the engines.
Yeah.
How many times should I be pumping that when I'm trying to start my engine? Does it matter on the temperature, or like, what do you think?
Okay, the temperature does matter. Okay, because sometimes, like in the spring, if we're hovering around 0 or above 0, just just putting the choke on will make your engine start right away.
Okay.
But while you've been to where I live in Muskoka, we get sometimes it can get minus 30 or Celsius or more, or even if it's less colder than that. You have to prime it when it's cold. 2, 3 shots, 4 shots. Use the electric starter. Choke on, throttle halfway. If you don't have a throttle, choke on. Prime it.
Yeah.
Now, if you do see a bit of gas dripping out of the carb, that's perfectly normal.
It is.
That is a very common question I get. I've even made a video on that, and if you guys want to watch it, the link's in the description here.
Okay.
So don't worry about that. That just means that the gas is dripping out of the carb because you've primed it a bit too much, so it won't get flooded.
Okay. So these, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Primer on a larger snowblower is different purge bulb on a small engine like a trimmer or a chainsaw or a leaf blower. Is that correct?
Good question, Dave, because a lot of people, before I answer the question, a lot of people come in my shop and on YouTube, they'll say, I'm pushing the primer on my snowblower, and there's no gas.
Right.
And they're right. The primer bulb on a snowblower will not get full of gas. Basically, all that primer's doing is pushing air in the carb.
Right.
When you push it, and that air is basically pushing gas in the carburetor venturi, which is the hole in the carb that's feeding the engine.
Okay.
Okay, so you're just pushing air in the carburetor. Just to reiterate, it's pushing gas in the carb. It's not like on, let's say, like a steel trimmer where the primer bulb's full of gas.
Right.
Okay, so when you prime a snowblower, you might even hear some air.
Okay.
You'll hear like air and you're thinking, oh, this thing's not working. There's gas dripping out of my carb. But in reality, it's designed that way and it is working.
Okay, so it's true then. This is a primer, but on a chainsaw, or sorry, like a leaf blower, or some chainsaws. It's a purge where you're actually purging air out of the carburetor and putting gas through. It's a different system because
Absolutely.
There's a difference between a primer and a purge, right? And then one is to pump gas in, the other one is to pump air out. And you can't actually flood a small engine by over purging. Is that correct?
You could like on a 2-cycle trimmer, for example, which is totally a different system than a snowblower. Like I just talked, the snowblower primer pushes air in the carb, which in turn pushes gas in.
Right.
But the trimmer, you're actually filling the fuel line with gas. Okay?
Right.
So you can overprime it.
Right.
Okay, the gravity on a chainsaw, for an example, the gas will flow into the engine, whereas on a snowblower, it's going to drip out of the carb. And usually there's an intake pipe that goes up to the engine, so there's no way the gas can crawl up there. But on a chainsaw or trimmer, it's even, so it just kind of goes in the engine and floods it. Okay, so two different, totally priming systems.
Prime purging. Got it.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. So what else have I written down here? How long? So I put the choke on, ignition on, choke prime, engine starting, it's running with the choke on.
Yeah.
How long would I be running that engine with the choke on before I put the choke off or before I start blowing snow?
Okay, really good question, Dave. Really good question. So where I live, it gets pretty cold. So what you want to do is run the choke until when you turn that choke off, the engine keeps running. Okay? So if you prime it, choke it, start it, and let it run for 5 seconds, turn the choke off, and it dies, repeat the process.
Right.
Repeat the process and let it run with the choke until it wants to die with the choke on.
And then all the way in, or just kind of halfway in, or just, is it a feel kind of thing?
Leave the choke fully on. When you see it's like starting to bog down, then gradually turn the choke off.
And then I think that's probably variations outside, right?
Yeah, that will depend on the weather. I mean, if it's 0 degrees here, I prime my snowblower. It's right behind me here. Yeah. It's that Arian's right there. It's got a Tecumseh engine. So if it's kind of like 0 degrees, like today here, and we had a bit of snow, basically I primed it, choked it, started it. I only had to leave it on the choke for like 5 seconds, turn the choke off, and it kept going. If it's minus 20 in the middle of January after a storm, I'm probably going to have to let my engine run for like 20 seconds with the choke full on. And then when I turn the choke off, the engine will keep going. But if I turn the choke off too quick, it's going to die. So it all depends where you live and how cold it is.
Right, like because I know that, if I had the exact same model of this blower, it might require a little bit more choke and left on a bit longer. Like, it's all different.
Oh, yeah, right? You're absolutely right, Dave. And it just came to my mind. I mean, it's hard to know everything here off the top of my head with these impromptu videos, but the Tecumseh engine on my snowblower back here is a flathead engine. It's not overhead. And I do notice they need the choke a bit more. All the new snowblowers you buy now are all overhead. They don't vibrate as much. They're smoother. I've noticed on those that sometimes I don't need to leave the choke on as much. And your Toro snowblower is a 2-stroke, is that correct? Yeah. So that one, you're going to have to gauge it, but it might need a little more choke. Okay.
Yes, to be honest, this one's my favorite. It's a bit louder.
Yeah, I know. They're nice.
Doesn't have any of the electric chutes or anything like that, but man, does it just fly up and down the driveway, that's for sure.
And you know what, Dave? They don't make 2-stroke snowblowers like that anymore, so you might want to hang on to that one.
It's missing. I have to order if you have one of those.
What's it missing?
Just the cover back here.
You know what, Dave? I think I've got one left here in my shed.
Okay.
Yep.
Come up and see you next. I'll have to grab it.
Yeah. We'll make a video when you come up to my shop too.
Cool. Sounds good. Now, I think this is out of my realm of expertise. I'm more, the small stuff, blowers and that. I have a problem with this blower that when I have the gear in reverse, like the very first stage of reverse, it still wants to go forward. Why is it doing that?
Okay. What you need to do there, Dave, is adjust the shifter linkage. Now, that's a Craftsman snowblower?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so those ones are made by AYP. They've got a solid linkage. Okay, and if you look at it under the console there where the light is.
Yeah, I got it here,
Yeah, so you'll see like a carriage bolt that you can loosen and adjust the shifter. Yeah. Okay. So you need to adjust that.
Okay, up or down.
As a matter of fact, Dave, I just put up a video about, 2-3 weeks to a month ago. The title is How to Fix a Snowblower That Goes Forward in Reverse. Or you may have the opposite problem. Sometimes they go forward, they go reverse and forward. So, check out the video, but adjust your linkage. Until you get the desired gear ratio or forward reverse motion that you're happy. I'll put the link. I'll put the link to that video is in the top right hand corner of the video screen right now and in the video description as well.
Okay, so that's just something that like goes out of adjustment over time, or
wear and tear. Especially the snowblowers with cables, sometimes they stretch.
Yes. So this is a hard linkage. So maybe I bumped it or something like that.
It could be, or people, you probably got that machine used, so that who knows, the previous owner might have played with it.
Right. Okay. And my last question really is, it's not a question for this. Well, actually, it is actually.
Yeah.
So, two-stroke. Question is, what's the best oil for a snowblower? Now, I know on these two 4-strokes, they have an oil reservoir, right? So,
yes.
What's the best 4-stroke oil? And then the second part of that question is, what kind of oil should I be mixing for my 2-stroke, and what mixture? Because I know sometimes a little bit richer is better.
Okay. Yep.
And is it the same? Can I just use the gas from my chainsaw or from my leaf blower and just pour it in here?
Okay. I'll start with your 2-stroke blower.
Okay.
I mix all my mixed gas 45-1. It's a little more oil than is recommended.
45?
45-1. So that means you will have a little more oil in your gas than if you mix it at 50-1.
Why?
I do that because a lot of the 50-1 recommendation is for pollution, is to prevent pollution. And I mean, I don't mean to be polluting the environment, but I've never blown a 2-cycle engine in anything that I've owned. And okay. my mentor, and I think you've met the guy in my shop one day.
Yeah.
He mixes everything at 45-1 as well.
Okay.
It's not that much more oil. It's not going to clog up your muffler or foul your spark plug. It's going to lubricate your engine better. And use a good oil. Yeah. I use this steel oil. It even has a bit of a stabilizer built in that oil.
I didn't know that.
It's made by Castrol.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I do.
So 45-1.
Yeah.
Quality. Like the steel oil. I've always used steel oil in my chainsaws, but I don't exactly 50-1, right? One of those little 100 milliliter
Exactly.
bottles.
Yeah. So if you bring your little gas can to the pump, we have the metric system here in Canada. So if you put 4.5 liters in your, it's very easy that way. There are conversion charts online to convert from metric to imperial. So for our US viewers today, they can do that online and check that out. It will make your equipment last a lot longer, Dave.
Okay.
And
go ahead. Deal with that sort of, because I can only imagine that's only a couple more drips of oil.
It's really not that much more. And basically, the gas that I use in my chainsaws gets used in all 2-cycle equipment, whether it's a snowblower or a chainsaw or a weed whacker.
Okay, that's great. The 4-strokes?
4-stroke, Dave, 530, 5W30 or 5W20.
Oh, okay.
And try to get a good name brand. It's not necessary to use synthetic. You can if you want, but my recommendation is change the oil every year as a homeowner. Once a year. If you do it commercially, if you do a lot of driveways, then maybe 2-3 times a year.
Okay. And so let's say my car takes a 530, and if I do my own oil changes, which I do, and I've got 530, this is synthetic, just that.
You just broke up a bit there with the audio.
Okay, so sorry, must be a back then. So if if I've got a car and I use 530 for my own oil changes, just use that in the snowblower?
Exactly. That's all I do.
Wow, okay.
That's easy. All I do in my pickup. I use the exact same oil in my own snowblower. Like I said, I've never blown an engine.
Okay.
Ever.
Awesome.
And you know what, Dave? Change your oil every year regardless if you're a homeowner or not, because there could have been a moisture buildup in your engine, in the oil of your engine. And I would especially recommend that if whoever is watching If you cannot store your snowblower indoors, just check your oil every year and just change it. I mean, nobody's going to go broke changing the oil on their machines.
There's not very much in there.
No, because I've seen machines come in my shop, Dave, where people left them outside, and you're wondering, how did water get in the oil? It just seems to find a way to get in there, even though the oil caps, everything's on.
Yeah.
It just seems to get in there, and your oil turns gray.
Yes.
I mean, you'll blow an engine pretty quick that way.
Kind of turns that milky color, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I actually have a video online about that.
Oh, you should link that too. I want to watch that.
I will.
All right, awesome.
Okay.
Donnie, those are all I have. That's great. I figured I'd just hammer a few of those out because, I mean, I've got friends that ask me for advice, and I mean, I go online and somebody will tell me one thing and somebody will tell the other. So I'm glad that we've sorted out a few of those.
Yeah. See, I work on this stuff every day, Dave, so I see, I won't say I've seen it all, but I see a lot of stuff, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for your time, Don.
Okay,
I really appreciate it.
All right, Dave. Thanks for joining me in in another video.
Yeah.
Everybody watching today, guys, make sure to subscribe to my channel, to Dave's channel. Comment in the video. Shoot us any ideas that you want Dave and I to discuss here, because this is a totally open forum. We just talk about anything here.
Yeah.
And again,
we just both happen to love small engines for something.
Oh yeah, I think we're addicted to them, eh, Dave?
We're addicted.
Okay.
Hey, buddy, take care. Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And again, make sure to subscribe and follow us on social media. All the links are below the video, and have a great day.
Take care.